I'm gonna take you through one of my favorite leg warm-up routines. I'll use this warm-up anytime I want my legs to perform better. That could be a cardio day, leg lift, interval training, sporting event. If I want to be primed and perform well, this is what I'll do just because it covers all bases. We're gonna start out with some mobility. We're gonna activate the hips, core, and upper back. And then finally, we're gonna make sure that heart rate's up, you're warmed up, and the nervous system is primed and ready to go. So we're gonna get started. All you need is a yoga mat, a nice yoga mat, and we're gonna start out on the ground. All right, the first exercise is just a pigeon stretch to a hip flexor stretch. I like to start in this push-up position, and then I cross that foot across the body and put the knee on this side of the body. So it looks weird. It looks like I'm just driving up and stretching my glutes, but I actually want my foot on one side of my body, knee on the other. This is just a normal pigeon stretch, and I'm rocking back. Some people don't need that elevated knee. They can just find it here. I struggle and feel the stretch across my knee, so I prefer you stack some pillows up or use a yoga mat. The less flexible you are. So we're in this nice pigeon stretch. Foot's on one side, knees on the other. My hips are square. I want you to feel it in that back hip. And then all those muscles we're stretching, I want you to squeeze, drive that knee into a hip flexor stretch. So it's weird. You're gonna pivot on that knee from that pigeon stretch to a hip flexor stretch. That's two. I'm gonna show you a third one just at a different angle. So we're in this pigeon, foot's on one side, the shin's kind of horizontal, knees on the other, and you're gonna push that shin into the ground and stretch this hip flexor of the same leg. Go ahead now, three on the other side. So you're gonna go from that pigeon stretch, take a deep breath. I don't want any twisting in that knee. All of it should be warming up and stretching that outside back hip capsule. Now push that knee in and drive. Depending on how tight you are, how much you want to work on mobility, you could hang out for like 3 breaths into the stomach. Feel your waistband expand. 3 breaths, and then push out of it. Or you're nice and mobile, you do the pigeon stretch all day. It's not even a struggle. And then you can be a lot more dynamic with it, pressing out of it. So about 3 on each side. That's the most complicated thing we'll do today. We're gonna move on to much simpler ones to show in the video. So we're moving on to a groin stretch. I'm not twisted, so my hips are square, feet are square. This foot is in line with this knee, and this foot's pointed forward. I'm in this big groin stretch, and just like the other one, the muscles we're stretching, I want you to pull. So you're in this end range groin stretch. Pull that foot in and give me that nice kick back. And just to show that kick back, it's just to engage that glute a little bit. So again, we're in that big groin stretch. You can rock back a little bit, push this knee out, squeeze that groin, all those muscles you were stretching, kick back. We're gonna do 3 on each side. Stretch, breathe into the stomach, kick back. Same thing other side. I'll show it here. Push those hips back a little bit, stretch out that groin, and you're gonna pull, dragging that foot in with that groin and kick back, tight core. Nothing's twisting off. Kick back, squeeze that glute max. And one more I'll show this way. You're in this big groin stretch. Last one. Open those hips up. You rock back, it's a little bit more hamstring. Rock forward, it's a little bit more of those hip flexors, front side. Right in the middle is groin, adductor. Keep this outside foot out. It's gonna internally rotate that femur. Squeeze that groin, kick back. The numbers don't really matter. You can rep it out more if you wanna work on the activation, or you can hold the stretches longer if you gotta work on the mobility. Next one, very easy. I'm gonna go out of frame, but all you're doing is pushing the hips back for a big hamstring stretch. You're walking it forward for a calf stretch. You're in the push-up position, big lunge, and all you're gonna do is rotate towards that knee. Put your hands down, other leg, rotate towards the knee, kick it back, walk it back, stretching, and then squeezing all those muscles we just stretched. You're doing that 3 times. So hamstrings, glutes, calves are now stretching. Big thing here on the rotation, the lunge, I'm not trying to just spin in my lower back. I'm trying to open up that thoracic region. So I'm pulling my shoulder blades back and down. I switch, open up. Same thing, I'm not just trying to twist in my lower back. We're gonna move on from that mobility to now some activation. We're gonna start with the back. You wouldn't think the back, especially upper back, is that important in legs, but trust me, it's all those postural muscles, whether it's running or leg day, you need that thoracic extension to be strong and ready to go. So all we're doing is, like I just showed, a bird dog, squeeze the glute, no arch in that lower back, so tight core, with a pinky back fly and a thumb back fly. And you're going 10 on each side of each exercise. So 1, 1, 2, 2. And the big thing here is on this pull, I'm not shrugging it up. So I don't want traps. I want shoulder blades to pull back and down, and I'm pulling into good posture on each one of these. So you'll go 10 on one side, and then squeeze the glute, no arch in that lower back, tight core. You're going thumb, pinky, 2, thumb, pinky, 3. So just to show again, it goes thumb, pinky, and I use that pinky part, so the thumb kind of activates my trap. I get this slight scapular elevation, but then I reset that down and back with the pinky, and then I try to keep it. So every once in a while I'll go a low pinky back fly, and that really helps find that position. 10 on one side, 10 on the other. And then we're gonna jump up and do some airplane hips activation. All right, these are just called airplanes. They take some time to really hone in and get full body control over. But all you're gonna do is an RDL. First step is make sure you know what an RDL is. So soft knee bend, push the hips back. You keep that flat back, and then you squeeze the glute and hamstring to stand back up. Maintaining good tripod foot pressure. I'm pretty narrow with my stance. So that's a double leg RDL. You can do a couple of those. And then grip the ground. You know how to pull yourself back up with that posterior chain. So it's not your back that's standing you up, it's your legs and hips. And now you're gonna do that all with single leg. So kick back, soft knee bend, pull yourself back up. Do that a couple times. Make sure the balance is good. And then I don't really want balance to be the bottleneck here, so feel free to grab a chair or something like that. But you're gonna do an airplane in that single leg RDL. So you're gonna kick back, your hip should be as square and level as possible. Drop it down so it's past, so it's dropped. You'll feel that nice stretch in that same muscles that we did, and my hips and shoulders are aligned. And then I open back up, squeezing those muscles. I drop back down to neutral, and I stand up, squeezing that glute and hamstring. 3 on one side, 3 on the other. I'm gonna show you on the other side, just so you can get some different angles. Push that hip back. My hips are square, airplane, flat, stand back up. 3 on each side, a couple more angles. Push that hips back, twist, catch, stand back up. And again, work what you should be able to do without holding on to anything. Normal RDL, normal single RDL. And then if you really want to get into the airplane and see how well your internal, external rotation, how good knee stability is, then maybe hold on to something so that way you can really work into the twist, level back out and pull yourself up. Grip the ground. This should wake up the foot too. This is our first real stability balance exercise. So really warm up the hips there. Pull yourself through the position. If you have any questions on this one, reach out. And the only other one that I said is pretty complicated is that pigeon to hip flexor, I was so tight in my pigeon, I had to start out on an inclined bench, putting my knee on it, and kind of stretching here before I could ever get down to a mat and find that position. So just a little caveat, if you're struggling with that pigeon to hip flexor, reach out. I'm gonna modify it a little bit, but it requires more equipment. So I didn't want to get into that for 99% of the people that don't have that struggle on that external rotation. All right, this exercise is way harder than it looks. It's gonna be this big core activation. So I'm gonna show you a couple different regressions. This is the most advanced. You're gonna take your front leg or your top leg and put it in front. You're gonna squeeze your abs into this big side plank, and then you're gonna try to march the top knee, march the bottom knee, march the top knee, march the bottom knee, 5 each. So that's 2, 3, I'm squeezing that side, 3, 4, 4. I'm not being passive on this shoulder. I want you to be nice and active, press into that ground. It's not jamming you up. Okay, so this is the most advanced. I'm gonna show you all the different regressions. The first and easiest way to hold up, especially on that shoulder, is to just put that outside hand down. And now you'll find a little bit more core, not all obliques. You'll find a little bit of the front abs, and it will take some weight off of that shoulder. Good, so that's just marching. And then lastly, if it's still more of an upper body workout than a core and leg control workout, you can always go half plank. This will just take a lot of weight off the shoulders. Squeeze the oblique, and you're just gonna go high knee to kick back, high knee to kick back. And then do more reps. Just do 10, 15 reps. If you're trying this one and it's a struggle, or the hand down and you can't get that mountain climber action, and then you'll go to the other side. Same idea, showing it here. So I even like to, just remember that top leg is always going in front. That'll roll your hips forward and you'll find your abs easier. And then march it out. Squeeze, 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 squeeze. We're in that nice mountain climber position. Find those abs. So we just took you through some mobility. We warmed up the hips, the core, the upper back, posture. And now the last two things we gotta do is make sure the heart rate's up. Your body is literally warm and ready to go. So there's no surprise there in your energy systems. And then also prime that nervous system. There's a little bit more pop if you did something explosive. So that's what we're gonna do. All right, I'm gonna take you through 4 pretty conventional active warm-up exercises. I'll show you the first one. It's just jogging forward and backpedaling back. You can do this the length of the mat. So if you feel weird in a gym doing like 20-yard active warm-ups, you don't have to. You can just do it pretty much in place. But I'm gonna show you how to advance this active warm-up so you can focus on 2 different things, whether it's the movement pattern and the coordination, or the speed and power and nervous system aspect. So for the speed and power, you just get a little bit faster. You just kind of hit the ground a little bit more violent. And then for that coordination, functional movement, you got to just take into account chopping the feet, dropping the hips. It's all about that deceleration movement pattern. So that means your knee's not caving, your chest is over your knee, your hips are behind your heel. So you're in that safe, non-forceful, it's not jamming through the front, your weight's this way. So there's 2 ways, and I pretty much just like to mix it up. I do a couple where I'm just focusing on the coordination and getting into that deceleration pattern. And then I do a couple where I'm just working on the speed and power. So same thing goes for shuffle. You could just do shuffle to start using that heart rate up. Now shuffle is a push. It's not a pull. A pull will stand you upright and it's gonna be a gallop. I want you to push off that trail leg big toe. Push so you can work the power, right? You can work on that speed of that outside hip, get some good jumps, shoving off that trail leg, or you can work on the coordination. So you're working on that perfect square hips and we're crossing our body with our arms. It doesn't look hard, but you can get a little bit confusing, especially in the next one, to make sure, hey, can I cross my arms without turning this into a rhythmic gallop? Can I keep a perfect shuffle and cross my arms? Next one, it's even more so. You can either do coordination and the movement skill, or you can work on the power, and it's karaoke. So I'm turning my hips. If you don't know how to do karaoke, just start with that. It's trail leg goes in front, trail leg goes behind. Trail leg goes in front, trail leg goes behind. And just work on that. You'll go slow, but let's say you know how to do it. All I'm gonna do from here is start adding arm circles. So if I'm going left, arm circles back or forward, just switch it up. Good karaoke, and mix it up. And again, try not to find a rhythm, so you can do arm circles fast, feet slow, arm circles fast. Mix it up, try to confuse the brain. We're getting that cross-lateral nervous system coordination. So that's for karaoke, and then you can do really quick, but a bunch of different ways. Trust me, you want to be warmed up, ready to go, especially if it's a sporting event that you're trying to get into. And then the last exercise is just skip. And this one, more than anything, I want triple extension and power. So start easy, just skip down, skip back, skip down, skip back. But then start getting into that speed. Triple extension, hip, knees, ankle, hip, knees, ankle. You can't sprint if you can't skip. So there's the warm up for you. That hit everything. Hopefully your heart rate's up. You're sweating a little bit. Things are active, primed, ready to go. And you can always run it back and do it a second time if you have the time before your leg day or cardio. Good work. If you have any questions, reach out.